Do you know what that trophy is?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
The Premier League trophy.
Do you know that you are going to be presenting it to the Chelsea team on Sunday?
No, I'm not.
You are.
Really?
Yeah,
Don't
mate.
lie.
You are. No, I'm not lying.
There you go.
Right.
Thank you. No way.
There's mate.
Completely shocked. I would never expect to give the Premier League trophy over to the champions. So happy, so happy.
So look out for him this weekend, and you can find out more about the Premier League's Kicks campaign and Premier League Primary Stars as well, launched this season. Brilliant initiatives from the Premier League taking football out and about.
Absolutely. Congratulations to everybody involved this season. Well, thank you for watching here on Premier League News. In the last few moments, reports have surfaced that Arsenal's minority stakeholder, Alisher Usmanov, has launched a £1 billion bid to buy outright control from Stan Kroenke's controlling stake in the club.
But they'll both have a say in Arsene Wenger's future after the FA Cup final.
En route to Paris.
Incredible effort. And boy, what a battle it is.
Man on a mission here in Paris.
Novak Djokovic has achieved his dream, folks.
Love all.
The atmosphere is just amazing.
Love the French Open 2017. Live on the Fox Sports Network.
The land of the Taeguk Warriors hosts the superstars of tomorrow with the FIFA Under-20 World Cup Korea Republic 2017. The best young players from across the planet represent their countries head-to-head in the finest tradition of the game. Catch these future legends make their own history in the FIFA Under-20 World Cup Korea Republic 2017. Live on Astro SuperSport 2, 3, and Astro Go. This broadcast of the Premier League is brought to you by Brickfields Asia College, the fastest and smartest way. MyEG, your e-government service provider. And Wanda Coffee. Try the new Wanda Extra Presso.
Turn your magical. She'd say everything you want to dream away. We are legends every day. That's what she told me. I feel my heart beating, 'cause you make me feel.
Relegated from the Premier League.
Chelsea champions, Conte's blue blood kings of England.
And here we are, so many highs, so many lows throughout the course of the season. Approximately 9 months, a grueling 9 months for all the teams. But we have our champions, we have our newly crowned champions. Trophy presentation will be happening later on at Stamford Bridge. We already know who's relegated, but there's still the narrative of the Champions League spots. Who's going to be playing in Europe's top tier competition next season? We'll find out over the course of 90 minutes. All matches are kicking off in about 1 hour from now. Arsenal taking on Everton, Burnley taking on West Ham, Chelsea, Sunderland, Hull City taking on Tottenham, Leicester, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Middlesbrough, Manchester United taking on Crystal Palace, Southampton taking on Stoke, Swansea taking on West Brom, and finally Watford taking on Manchester City. We'll discuss all the permutations, etc. later on, or as deep as we can get into it because there's just so many. But we want your thoughts, your expectations. Who's going to be playing in the Champions League next season? Send us your tweets at Stadium Astro, at Adam Carruthers to contact me directly. Facebook will be keeping you updated there as well. Look up Astro EPL. StadiumAstro.com is our website. Plus, we're also going to be on YouTube. So look up Stadium Astro. We'll be broadcasting our pre-show and our post-show throughout the course of the evening as well, should you be unable to get to a television near you. And also, during the course of the matches, we will be crossing over live throughout the entire 90 minutes whenever there's a goal right here on our live score. It's a special finale for the season. So if you want to see what's happening, this is the place to be. I've got Steve McMahon, I've got Roshan, Narayan, I've got Paul Parker, and I've got Gary Stevens here alongside me. Gentlemen, final day of the season. How exciting is it for you as a player playing on the final day?
Well, I think from a player's perspective, it's what you do, isn't it? And regardless of how your season has been, I think you want to end it on as high a note as possible. I guess from our perspective, sat here today in the studio, you know, we would like a little bit more drama. You know, we know who's won the league, we know who's getting relegated, but there is still enough drama, I think, to keep us satisfied.
Well, 100%. I mean, there's top teams involved in obviously the Champions League spots. And it's going to go right down to the wire. There's lots of permutations which we're going to go through as the show goes on. Goal difference could play a part, possible playoffs even, because it could even itself out with goals for and against. So an intriguing afternoon ahead.
And what about this proverbial, they've already gone on holiday, they're already on the beach? Is that truly applicable? I mean, or is it an unwritten ethos that players can't really talk about it?
I think it's something used by some, maybe people who are a little bit bitter about it when they see players and they don't see them trying. It's the last game, it's like an excuse they're throwing at them. And certain players you look at and some of them just want to get it over and done with. I think in certain ways you do, but I think you still want to finish it on something to take forward to, you know, back again, waiting for August.
Don't you have to blame managers for this as well? It's coming into the game where managers are saying we don't care now about last, especially Mourinho. He's on about like the Europa. So for the last few weeks, he's switched off. The players have switched off, and you look at the players going away. Swansea have gone away this week to Spain.
You say that, yeah, but Swansea were in the beach, sir, partying, because apparently some of the senior players contacted Paul Clement, and boom, they are on holiday.
Well, they were given a number of days off, weren't they? And they decided that rather than spend that time in England, they would go away. I don't think it's right, personally. I think you leave yourself open to abuse.
All right, well, I want to go over to Stamford Bridge right now. John Terry's playing his last Premier League game as a Chelsea player. He might still be in the league next season, but not wearing the blues of Stamford Bridge.
John, what does it mean to be starting your last game at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah, after speaking to the manager, it's obviously nice to get a start on my final game at the Bridge and a kind of send-off. So, it's most importantly, we've got the Premier League kind of sealed and done. But, you know, for me, it's a great way to kind of end my career here.
How do you think you'll be feeling when you walk out onto that pitch, up those steps for the last time? 22 years.
I mean, it's all them emotions, isn't it? Last time you kind of walk in and drive in, walk up the steps in the dressing room. It's some really, really sad and emotional times for sure today, but one I'm going to kind of try and treasure and try and savour.
I mean, would you have ever dared dreamt you'd have had the time you've had at Chelsea?
No, I think looking back when I signed here as a 14-year-old, definitely not. You know, where Chelsea have come in the last 15, 20 years is incredible, really. The owner deserves a lot of credit for that. The players as well to continue that hunger for success as well, season after season. And that's a message for the boys, you know, once I leave, to continue winning trophies for this football club and for these supporters.
John, I'm sure everybody here is hoping you have a fabulous last day. Congratulations.
Cheers, Jeff. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thanks to John Terry, and of course, is often looking at him, you think back of some more unsavoury incidents. But as a footballer, as a Premier League player, as former England captain, Chelsea captain, surely he's going to go down as one of the best defenders of his generation.
Yeah, definitely. You know, if you look at it purely from a footballing perspective, who wouldn't have liked to have had the career that he's had as a player? Who wouldn't have liked to have won what he's won and had the success that he's won? You know, right at the very top, in my opinion.
I mean, he's finished. He's won almost everything. Well, I think he has won everything. He's served out so many years from a kid, and he has done really, really well. And they just mentioned there, be interesting where he goes. He's already come out and said, but a couple of seasons back, he would never play for another Premier League team. So if he does go to another Premier League team, that would be very interesting.
He was an old-fashioned defender in a modern-day football. So it's all credit to him.
He's adapted, though, hasn't he? He's really adapted.
He's a leader, and we don't see them. We cry out on the show, week in, week out, for leaders, winners, people who talk on the pitch, lead by example, do all the things that defenders need to do, clear your lines, block, put your body on the line to do so. He does everything and more. So he stood the test of time, and fair play to him.
All right, well, obviously they're going to be playing in Europe. They're going to be in the Champions League. We already know that. They are the champions. But not all the spots have been taken up just yet. Yes, Spurs are in there as well. But 3rd, 4th and 5th, City, Liverpool, Arsenal. For Manchester City and Liverpool, it is in their hands. It is in their control, their destiny. A victory for City would see them seal 3rd spots in no qualifying round. A draw will definitely put them in the top 4, no questions asked. It's a question of, will Liverpool drop points? Will Arsenal capitalise on that? Got any social media questions, Roshan?
Thanks, Adam. It's at Stadium Astro. It's for the top 4. And the question comes from Radzi, who's the first question, of course. He says, getting a strong vibe that Arsenal will not make the top 4. Liverpool might slip up on the day, or, you know, things might happen. Ron says there's 0 chance Arsenal will finish in the top 4. Neither do they deserve to get there. And finally, Redmond goes, which team needs to make the Champions League the most? Manchester City, Liverpool, or Arsenal? Going back to the first one. Liverpool to slip up on the first day, Mr. McMahon.
No chance. I don't think so. No. It'll be a travesty. I think all season long, Liverpool started like a house on fire, played fantastic football. At one stage, people were tipping them to win the league. And all of a sudden, they went through a period of just after Christmas time where they couldn't win games, especially at home. But they deserve to be there, in my opinion. Yeah. So did Manchester City. I think Arsenal have huffed and puffed the way to having a chance at this stage. Yeah. So I don't think Arsenal, in my opinion, deserve to be in the Champions League.
One element, in my opinion, that has affected Liverpool more than anything, and it's
Mane.
Mane. Yeah. Mane is that one player. When he went for the African nation, when he come back and then he gets injured, like he's injured now, he's affected him. He plays. If he wasn't injured, if he don't injure, they'll be safe already.
They'll be done and dusted already.
Yeah, already.
Gary, for the money spent though by these teams, the money spent by these 4 teams that are vying for the Champions League, who would be most disappointed?
Well, I think Man City have spent more money than Liverpool, haven't they? So I guess based on that fact alone, but they've all spent big. Yeah. They all need to be in the Champions League. But what, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago with Steve on Football Countdown on a Friday night, we said who did we think would miss out, and we went at the time that we felt Arsenal would miss out, and we also felt that Manchester United would miss out, and I still believe that's going to be exactly what happens today.
People be thinking I beat the drum again about Arsenal. I just think it will wake Arsenal up a touch and make them change things at that football club. The only way that's going to happen if they don't get Champions League football, because they're papering over the cracks.
Let's focus on this game at hand. Anfield. We got pictures of the teams arriving. I wanted to talk us through the lineup here. Starting off with your home team, Macca.
One change which I'm pleased about. Origi for me is not up to the mark at this moment. I think he's a good impact player. Firmino will start, and I think they will play the diamond system. Usually when it's formation or this personnel, they've been playing 4-3-3. But the diamond system worked fantastically well with the personnel. Lallana at the head of the diamond, as you can see. Coutinho, the left of the diamond. Wijnaldum, right, and Chan sitting. And you've got the 2, which I love together. And I've been saying all along, why can't you play 2 strikers together? And I'm happy Sturridge is playing alongside Firmino.
All right. Is that the Smart decision? Are you in agreement?
I find it strange that he's taken him so long. This desperation has forced him to do it because he knows he needs... Sturridge makes a difference, and that could be the defiant. If they do, they get through, people will be asked, if they should get over the line, you'll be asking the question, why has he left Sturridge on the line? Why hasn't he given Sturridge the opportunity to play with someone up front? Because we know how good he is.
Well, we know how good he is, but how fit has he been for most of the season? Has he truly made himself readily available for Liverpool Football Club? That would be my question.
I think just the decision was when he's been ready and available, he's chosen Origi over him. Yeah. And I think that is I see it and I go, Origi is not a patch on Sturridge. But Klopp doesn't want the Sturridge of this world because he can't defend. And I'll say that with respect, he can't defend from the front.
He's not a team player?
He's not, well, that's what Klopp is thinking. He can't do the hard yardage in terms of closing defenders down.
Well, he certainly doesn't. He certainly doesn't work when not in possession, does he? And I think Klopp expects all of his players to put a shift in when they're not in possession. But you know, I would prefer to play against Origi than I would Sturridge. Without a doubt. What about you, Paul?
Sturridge, you don't know what's going to come next. You know that he's first. Every time he gets the ball, you know straight away if he's not looking at goal, he's running at goal. So straight away you have to. He keeps defenders alive, and he makes a difference. Even if he's not going to score, as someone in the back four, you're always going to be wary of someone like him who's going to be sitting on your shoulder. You know he can drop short, and when Sturridge is facing you, that is a big problem.
You can't forget that when he partnered Suarez for that season where he scored 52 goals between them. The two of them were out-and-out strikers, the both of them. And they were scoring goals for fun, working off for each other in tandem. You know, he didn't need to spread. He didn't need to chase people down. Other players can do that. Yeah. You know, sometimes you've got to save your energy to play in between the 18-yard box. And Sturridge is an 18-yard box player.
All right, why don't you talk us through the opponents? They already relegated Middlesbrough. How do they look for you, Macca?
I was going to say solid, but they haven't been, have they? I think what you're going to see is scouts going to watch this game to look at these players. And Gibson certainly is in the frame of leaving that football club because you want to play, obviously, Premier League football. Again, it's not... you look at... Negredo's been left out because he's going to go back, obviously. They're all players who... They've played bit part for clubs over the years. So, again, there's a rebuilding job there. The formation, for me, is not good enough. They're playing a Christmas tree. All these formations.
Well, they're not going to play as bold as that formation suggests. They're not going to play three up front, are they?
No,
they're not going to play an open game. They can't play an open game.
Yeah, they get smashed if they do. They will get. This could be 4 or 5. If what it suggests on that screen there, they play, they won't. They play with the one striker, no doubt about it. They'll play with that Christmas tree formation to protect the midfield, where Liverpool will be so dangerous.
Steve, how many players do you see remaining come next season in the Championship from that starting 11?
You're probably seeing probably 9 of them because they're not good enough to progress. They're not good enough, Roshan, over a season to be in the Premier League. 1 or 2 maybe, you'll see probably step up a little bit. But that's why they are where they are. That's why they've been relegated, because they haven't got the quality. So I would expect 9 or 10 of that side to still
they'll
be
go
there.
and compete in the Championship, without a doubt. They would be able
to... Good enough.
To go and compete to get back.
All right, let's go to our fastest, smartest, which is brought to you by Brickfields Asia College. And it's about... Manager, we just don't know if he's going to be there next season. There's still a lot of speculation about his future, but take a look at so far what he's done at the Gunners. I mean, such an achievement, the longest-serving manager, obviously, arguably the best manager ever Arsenal has ever seen, given what he's brought to the club. Consistency would be the key here.
Yeah, and it is all about consistency with him. But as we've seen in the latter part, they kind of fell away a little bit. He now somewhere along the line. Arsenal have to move on, but the thing about it is that they're going to have to move on, and he's got to be involved in that because he's got to virtually do a handover. It's like a business thing. He's got to do the handover, the manager coming in to help the club move on with the players they've got, and somehow he's got to forge something along the way to slightly change it for the better of Arsenal.
I think the perfect scenario is for Wenger to step upstairs, becoming in effect a director of football, and a younger, more dynamic coach coming behind. But the problem is he is a control freak.
The irony being he doesn't believe in a director of
football.
Yeah,
I know, but he might do if he's a director of football.
Quite possibly.
But would you want to work under him as a manager who comes in?
Yeah, that's the issue. You've got to find a manager who's willing to work with a director of football as well.
Why don't we get into the team news for the Gunners? Who is Arsene Wenger gone for today? Gary?
Well, there are some changes in this Arsenal side, but I think it's more to do with the formation. That obviously they've swapped to a back three, and Koscielny's back in the side. They are playing this 3-4-2-1. Welbeck's come in up front. Giroud started the last game. It's interesting, Ozil and Sanchez, two key players, two highly talented players. Sanchez has been delivering, Ozil hasn't. I think we'll see an Arsenal side that will try to dominate possession. Will certainly create chances, Paul. It's a good team, isn't it?
I saw them midweek when they played Sunderland, and Sunderland were resilient. For 72nd minute, I think they scored in. And Sunderland, and the goalkeeper in particular, kept it at bay, but they kept knocking at the door, but you still were seeing weaknesses in the side. It's three at the back. They're trying it. Obviously, everyone is because of Chelsea, but you are looking at it, and it's not stable. It's not stable at all.
Pickford had made the most amount of saves he has done so in a single league game, so you're right about knocking at the door. But what about Everton, the opponents here?
It's a season for Everton which now they cannot go any higher in the table, they cannot go any lower. I think the interesting point is that Barkley doesn't start. That's the main talking point. There is this battle going on at the moment with Everton Football Club, Ronald Koeman, Ross Barkley, and I think Koeman's making yet another statement.
When you look at Arsenal, we were having a look at this formation. Steve was going, Gabriel, not good enough.
He's a weak link, absolutely. And if he starts left-hand side of the three, even weaker, this is where Lukaku could play in and score maybe a couple of goals. I'm not too sure he will, but he's just given him a chance. Gabriel is a weak link, absolutely. Xhaka, for me, has been a disappointment. Some games he's looked okay, and you think, okay, he's come through it. But in general, he's too rash, he makes too many bad decisions, and I think he's been a bit of a liability for Arsenal this season.
Is he a centre-back for you?
Who?
Is he a centre-back? Gabriel? Or is he better on the right? Or midfield,
where can he do least amount of damage?
On the bench, perhaps?
Probably on the bench, yes, yeah.
I think, strictly speaking, he's a central defender who can play at right back. But he hasn't convinced me, in any of the performances that I've seen of him, that he is a good enough defender yet. Whether he will become one, I think is questionable.
What's missing from his game?
Thanks, Steve. That's a bit harsh, Steve. I think it's experience, in all honesty. It is experience. So, if you give players time, they can deliver. Whether he can or not, I'm not so sure.
All right, Vicarage Road, our next location, Parks. This is the one for Manchester City up against Watford. What say you?
Well, Watford have got nothing to play for. The individuals have, because they're all looking for new clubs. Exactly, the managers go in as well, so that doesn't help the individual players. So if you're a manager, again, if you're looking at players for next season, you'd go there and you look at these players and you would ask a question about them. Are they self-motivated? Have they got desire to prove a point because they're looking for something for next season? And I can throw names at you, but I'm not going to, because they're just mishmash. There's nothing. Watford don't grab me. They haven't grabbed me all season. They're bits and bobs. They're showing little bits. Then all of a sudden, they fall out of bed. They have been, in my opinion, it's been a poor season for Watford.
It seems to be the structure of how the club is run, not just this club, obviously, the family that owns it.
The way the club runs is awful. I think it's totally wrong. No young players come through. And like it was mentioned earlier, why haven't Watford given some of their young players a game? Get some, there's experienced pros there, put in a few of your young players, so the young players in their academy can believe there's an opportunity. In this present state, the way the club's going, young players are never going to come through this club.
Yeah, and you would think, a less powerful Premier League club like Watford would certainly have that opportunity or that desire to promote youngsters through the academy.
And they're not doing it.
I think they work on a basis of just surviving every year in the Premier League. Identity, we don't know what they have. With Paul touched on it there. Are they bringing youth through? Or are they looking at a model that they can say, OK, we've got a fantastic setup, we can sell players on. It's a ground that we can attract young, up-and-coming players because we know they're going to give them first-team football. They don't have anything, Watford. They have journeymen. They have 11 different nationalities. playing at one time. And
it's happened this season.
Happened
right.
this season.
And
the manager can't speak a word of it.
Too many coaches.
The manager can't speak a word of English.
And the defining one as well. Troy Deeney's not playing again.
He's left him out.
Yeah, he left him out again. It's his last game. And he hasn't even done that. So obviously we know there's an issue between Deeney. And obviously Deeney doesn't really care because he knows next season.
You're right. And Deeney is bigger than the manager.
Yeah, you said that a few
weeks
ago.
You can see he deals in the crowd. He's apologising to his own fans when the manager should be coming out and doing that. He does everything that the manager should be doing. And I think that certainly the tail is wagging a dog at Watford with Deeney.
And the opponents, Manchester City, a draw for them would give them a top 4 spot. That's a guarantee. A win would give them the 3rd spot, so no qualifier needed. Who's Pep gone for here?
Well, he's gone for... I mean, he hasn't really changed it, to be perfectly honest. There isn't a lot of change. I like the fact that he's got Aguero he's playing now regular. He sees that working there. Sane and David Silva. Sane's improved as the season's gone on. But I'm going to say it again, City for next season, in my opinion, for Pep to get more respect from me, I want to see him do something defensively. I want to see at least one out-and-out defender in that back 4.
Yeah. Well, I think with Company coming back into the side as he has done in recent weeks, I think they have become a bit more solid, Man City. A little bit more solid. Yeah, I totally agree. But
I look at Company and he's been booked in his last 2 games, and he's been booked because pace.
Yeah.
He blocks him. He can't move. He looks like all he's done for the last few months is just pump weights. There's no agility in him at all when he moves. He's like
a bit like myself, you mean, Paul?
But Steve, going back to that midfield, Torre, who was unwanted at one point of the time, what will his role be?
He'll be this front sweeper.
And De Bruyne?
De Bruyne will be the playmaker. So they'll have Silva and De Bruyne in behind the striker.
So Torre and then?
Torre will sit. They'll have De Bruyne and Silva. They'll have Jesus and they'll have Sane on the left-hand side.
Overall, looking at the season, I mean, for Manchester City, this is all they've got left to play for. I mean, United have got the Europa League final. They've already got a trophy in the cabinet as well. Arsenal could very well get a trophy next weekend. Liverpool, no trophy, yes, but they haven't spent quite as much money as some of the other teams around them have. Would you say it's been the most disappointing for Manchester City, and given the fact that they got someone who was considered possibly the best manager in the world?
I think it is disappointing because they haven't won something, but you've got someone like Pep and he's won, but he was still coming into the Premier League. He's coming, in my opinion, to learn. But the thing about it, he hasn't really learned because he had opportunities to go and freshen it up and go and just do something that back line. I think if he had dealt with that, they could have maybe competed better in the league.
Sorry, Paul, I was going to say, I think that the one thing that's really gone against Pep as well is the fact that Antonio Conte's come in first season in the Premier League and he's gone and won it. You know, so it's a season of underachievement, in my opinion, for Man City. You look at what they've spent, you look at the squad they've got, you look at the manager, you know, regarded as one of the best, if not the best in the world. Steve, it's disappointing.
I've said, absolutely, City are there now to win trophies. That's the name of the game for City. No longer are they, the new kids on the block. They're now the real deal, or they should be.
Champions League.
Champions League is a must. They've got to have that. That's a give me before you even go there. They've got to at least win 1 trophy a year, which they haven't this year. And to be chasing the last game of the season, albeit they should do, it's still wrong. It shouldn't happen to a Manchester City. Look at Manchester United. Very, very poor, I'm sorry. But yes, they might go and win a Europa, and I do fancy them. But you look at it, I mean, they'll have scraped it. They'll have papered over the cracks this year. If they get into Champions League by winning the Europa, it turns out to be an unexpectedly fantastic season for them. 2 trophies, Champions League football. It's better than most of the other teams.
All right, let's go for a break. We're only just getting started here. We've only talked about a few teams. We haven't talked about Chelsea, really. We haven't talked about Sunderland. We haven't talked about Spurs. A lot more coming up here on Astro SuperSport. And don't forget, we'll be keeping you entertained throughout the entire evening, giving you live coverage for all of the matches, goal by goal.
Beating, 'cause you make me feel.
I've seen this movie.
Hero's the bad guy, lad. And then the bad guy's mother become good guy, lad.
Good guy become alien.
Alien become twins.
Stay strong, bro.
stay strong.
Wonder Extra Presso, brewed from premium Arabica coffee beans for a stronger coffee taste.
Wonder Coffee.
The Sudirman Cup 2017 on Astro SuperSport 4.
Apa tu? Gelang. Cantik kan? Sebelah tu? Sebelah Ramli punya. Biasalah mak orang bercinta. Gelang.
Go budget aksi on Astro first exclusive. Purchase on channel 480 and on demand.
Playoffs, it's a whole new season for us.
It's a special thing.
Worked all season long.
The real season starts now.
The NBA Playoffs on Astro SuperSport 4 and Astro Go. Jago-jago MMA terbaik Asia bakal bertemu di satu gelanggang, bertarung untuk mendominasi lawan dan bergelar juara. One Championship Dynasty of Heroes secara langsung di Astro Arena dan HD.
Cause you make me feel.
For me, this is a first season, and it's not easy to win in England. But when you have the possibility to kill the league and to win, you must do this.
All hail the Chelsea champions, Conte's blue blood kings of England, where science met art, where a body of fast playing talent met an effervescent coach. This time Conte, and this time again Chelsea. Conte's irresistible Chelsea class of 2017. In the end, the best team won it, and won it comfortably. The best in the land. They have reascended to the galaxy of the select stellar few. For the 6th time in their history, for the 5th time in the Premier League era, and for the 2nd time in 3 years, Stamford Bridge rises to acclaim the champions. He only knows how to win. He has a team full of winners.
Thanks for staying with us here. This is Premier League Live Score. All the matches kicking off concurrently in the last day of the season will be live throughout the entire match, and we'll cross over to each goal as it happens. So if you want to stay updated, this is the place. Let's get straight into the Chelsea formation. How does this look like for you, Steve, today? The champions themselves.
It's going to be a mishmash, isn't it? You know, sympathy comes out, and obviously the homegrown player and the favourite, Terry, will see it out, see the season out starting. But again, the same formation. And not too many other changes. Going out on a high note. You want to see them win the game. It's only right that you do so. You owe it to your fans, and you owe it to the players. But yes, there's certainly the sympathy vote for John Terry in his last game.
Steve, you look at Costa, you look at Hazard. These are the players who had a major role in getting Jose the sack. Now they're going to be crowned champions. Does that sit right well with you?
Nope, I said it last time. When players down tools, it's a bad attitude. It really is. I don't like that. I don't like to see that in any football club. You've got pride at stake, and to get a manager sacked, mind you, Jose didn't do a bad job of getting himself sacked anyway for the things he did both on and off the pitch. But players have got to have a bit of pride in themselves, and like we've all played, and these two guys have played. I think you feel the same way.
Yeah, well, but the dynamics are so different these days. You know, the players have become all-powerful, haven't they? You know, I remember in my day that, you know, if you were out of the side, for example, it hurt you because you didn't get your appearance money or the win bonus or whatever. These days, players, you know, there isn't particularly win bonuses and appearance money because they're on such big bases. I just think, you know, the power does need to shift back away from the players and into the control of the club a little bit more.
It should do, but it's not going to because of the monies that are being paid. Players are commodities now, and whatever the player, if you've got 12, 13, 14 players who say they're unhappy with the manager, and his word's a hater, he's lost the dressing room. I'm sorry, the owner, the chairman, is going to go with the majority. The individual doesn't mean it is irrelevant. It's about the majority. The majority are the ones who are worth the money, and you're paying them a lot of money as well. So player power was there for a long, long time.
Well, the Black Cats, how about them? Because, well, they're already relegated, we know that. No Defoe, he's got a hamstring injury, so his season is done. It's going to be a tough match.
Very tough. When you've got to play Lescott in your side, then you're struggling. O'Shea is 38, going on, or he looks 38, he's only 36. But again, you're struggling. You're struggling with this kind of lineup. It's Rodwell, I think he's won one game in about 200 games for Sunderland. Januzaj, again, is an ex-United player. Who would you get out of this side and think, can he play somewhere else? Pickford. Yeah, Pickford, that's a goalkeeper. That's your goalkeeper. That's about it. There's nobody else.
Is he the only one going to get a move?
Yeah. Well, you look at...
Well, Defoe would be another name, not the one who starts.
No, well, Defoe is not starting. Yeah. But yes, obviously, he's going to have a few pickings. But Paul touched on Middlesbrough. Will do well in the Championship with the side going down. Sunderland will go down again if they have that lineup. They will go down again. Without Defoe, without Pickford, they're possible. If they stick to the same squad and the same manager, they could be on for another relegation.
Well, let's switch focus to Chelsea, shall we? Something positive.
Thought you wanted me to smile at you.
You can go ahead and smile, Steve. I love your smile.
Later, when Liverpool win, I'll give you a big smile.
All right, I shall keep my eye on you. All right, it's at City Maestro. We also have a Facebook page. The first one comes from Hamid, who says, Jose Mourinho's Premier League champions were better than Antonio Conte, says Gary Neville. What do you think? Does that put a smile on your face, Steve?
Jose Mourinho was better than...
His starting 11.
Conte's?
Yeah, comparing it. Jose Mourinho's...
to Conte's?
Yes. If you compare them, Chelsea.
No, I don't think so. I think it's been difficult for Conte, given all the problems he's had and given all the managers you've spoken about, Pep Guardiola, 150 million he spent or whatever it is, and Klopp, he's trying to win something, Mourinho now at United, Wenger's trying to get it. So I think the dynamics have changed for the Premier League, even in a few years.
Yeah. I think on my part is that I don't think it's about who's better, because Mourinho's team was definitely played in a fashion not to get beat. Yeah. And he needed individuals to go and score, to go and bit of magic to win. I look at this Chelsea side, and I can actually sit down and quite happily watch and enjoy watching Chelsea play. Mourinho's Chelsea, I couldn't watch them.
And a good example is what he's done with Victor Moses as compared to what Jose did with Victor Moses. That separates these two managers.
Well, the big difference is that Conte's given Victor Moses an opportunity. Whereas prior to that, Chelsea just kept putting him out on loan. Yeah. It's difficult managing players, that is for sure. And every manager has his own opinions on players.
And systems. Yeah. I mean, Conte's got a perfect with the system. He's playing Moses in the position that he knows he can do a job. He's got Luis in, which is a fantastic buy, and he realised that what he wanted to play. And after getting thumped against Arsenal early on in the season, he stuck to his back three. And he probably going to win the double this year.
He's the first foreign manager to come in after Wenger who has actually influenced the Premier League. Arsene Wenger comes in, he made a massive difference to everyone's thinking in the Premier League. He's come in, and all of a sudden now, all different managers are playing free at the back. When no one touched it before, no one went near it. Now everyone is thinking about it now. And thinking about wing backs who can... It's amazing how much influence he's had in one season.
You've criticised Pep Guardiola in the past for being stubborn, not changing his ways. Yeah. But Antonio Conte, you've also praised him because he was reactive. That game against Arsenal, I think it was last week, you started that as a turning point, whereby they switched to the back three. So due credit to him there as well, not being stubborn enough to react.
To who?
To making a change to the team,
Guardiola,
unlike Guardiola. No, Conte.
Well, Conte, that's what we're saying. I can't praise him highly enough. He's realised that the personnel dictate what systems you play. People say it's systems, it's all about players, and it is all about players. But it's recognising that back four together couldn't play and couldn't do what he wanted. So he changed it. So he got forward-thinking fullbacks. He got defenders who could step in and play in midfield. You don't see them staying as a three centre. They're not three centre-halves. There's one centre-half will stay, and two will push into midfield. So, and then you play a four in midfield. So it's fairly complex what he's done and how he's changed it. And fair play to him. With Guardiola, he's changed it for changing's sake. That's the difference.
But for me, where the credit goes to Conte is that he has absolutely drilled them on the training park. There's no two ways about it. And I know Chelsea have had the advantage of no European football so he's been able to spend more time on the training park. I look at Pep Guardiola and I wonder at times what he does on the training park with them.
I think he sends people in if they give the ball away. seriously, I was told, if he does possession work and lots of stuff with the ball. If you give the ball away on 2 or 3, 4 and continually go in the dressing room, he chases them in because he's letting the session down. So he wants perfection all the time. Yeah. But if you're a centre-half and a full-back, you're under pressure straight away. So that's why he wants them to, everybody to play football.
You know, I look at Chelsea, they have a way of playing and they know what they're doing. I look at Man City, they have various ways of playing, but the players don't seem to be fully in line with it.
On the topic of Chelsea, let's go back again to Stamford Bridge. We've got Antonio Conte standing by.
Antonio, will be a very popular decision with the fans here. But what made you decide to start John Terry today?
I decided to start with John because he deserves this. He deserves this for this season, and it was very important for me and for the whole team to win the league. I deserve this for the past because John is a legend for this club. I think that he deserves to have this opportunity.
It will be a wonderful send-off and a party, but how much are you determined to set a new Premier League record with 30 victories?
But it's a target. It's a target for us because, and also is very important because today is a game that we start to prepare the final in the FA Cup. But for sure today we want to try to win with all our strength.
You say you've got the FA Cup coming, but how much are you determined as well to enjoy today, the trophy presentation and the celebrations?
It's right to celebrate, it's right to enjoy this moment because don't forget that this season was very tough and to have a bit of joy and to celebrate with the players, with the fans, with the club, this great achievement is a fantastic moment and we have to do this.
Congratulations, have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Antonio Conte with gestures over there. We have a tweet from She who goes, "It's the last Premier League home game for John Terry, but no Chelsea game on Astro. I will correct you there, my friend. It's on channels 801 and 802 in Headsheet. That's Astro Arena. You can switch over right now after we start things here, by the way." Adam?
Excellent. Let's go over to Hull, taking on Tottenham. Talk us through this. Yeah, I think the biggest narrative would be Harry Kane, top scorer. He's on course so far.
You know, what a great season he's had. And, you know, when you look at this Hull City side, they played 3 at the back against Palace recently. It didn't work particularly well for them. Marshall's come in goal. You know, I think it's very difficult when your season's ended the way it's ended for Hull. You know, 2 very important defeats in their last 2 games as to where they finished in the league. And they're just trying to save a little bit of face, in all honesty.
All right.
Difficult afternoon for them.
Talk us through your former club, Spurs, and what Mauricio Pochettino has gone for today.
Well, it looks as if they will play with a back 4. They played with 3 up against Leicester in midweek when they won 6-1. But, you know, this Spurs 11, or the squad that Spurs have, they're very versatile, they're comfortable, they can play as a 3. You know, Dyer, for example, is playing in midfield. Today he's comfortable at right back or as a central defender. But the really exciting aspect for Spurs, for me, is the 4 creative players. You know, Son, Ali, Eriksen, and in particular Kane, who a week ago looked like he probably wouldn't win the Golden Boot because he was 2 goals behind Lukaku. Yeah. Now he's 2 goals in front.
I'm glad you brought up Kane because he is the topic of the next question. The question is from Tam Ali, who says, "It's the final day with Kane, Lukaku and Sanchez all in the running for the Golden Boot. Who would you prefer in your team and why?" Okay, I'm not going to ask you the question because you're a Tottenham man yourself.
First of all, I think the Golden Boot should be won by a player in the top 4. And it's going to be, hopefully, the top 2. So he deserves. So outside, because I don't think Arsenal will qualify for Champions League. Certainly Everton won't. So I don't think a team outside of that, like Lukaku, we've been on about him so many times. And he doesn't deserve, in my opinion, to win the Golden Boot.
Go on, why?
Because he's not even got 24 goals yet. Sorry,
but if he does finish top goal scorer, why doesn't he deserve?
Because he hasn't won enough games for Everton. And that sounds stupid. He scored 4 goals in the games against Bournemouth, I think it was. He scored 4 goals in one game. He scores goals at home against teams that are not really going to affect Everton's
Are you saying
position.
he's a flat-track bully?
Yes, I'm saying he's scoring goals against teams that are in the bottom half of the table. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't produce on the big stage against big clubs. Harry Kane does, Sanchez does.
But presumably if Harry Kane's produced against the big teams, Harry Kane hasn't produced against the smaller teams then, has he?
No,
on
he
that
has.
basis?
No, he has. He's been consistent because he's been injured for quite a while as well, Gary. So he missed.
Yeah, no, he's played considerably less games.
He's missed a big chunk of the season. So he has scored against both, and he's capable of scoring against both. Yeah. Lukaku, for me, goes missing against the big teams. That's what I'm saying. And you can have it. Gary Lineker scored. He was the top scorer for Everton, and they won nothing that year. They won nothing that year. So it's not just about the player scoring the goals. Yeah. What impact he has for this team.
You're talking about Lukaku. During your playing days, or what you see right now, what would you compare him to any other striker right now? In Premier League or La Liga or in the Bundesliga?
Don't know, maybe a Heskey type player, that kind of big, strong, powerful, not the greatest touch and technique in the world, but powerful and strong and bullied centre-halves.
So he doesn't deserve to be in a top 4 team?
In my opinion, no. Maybe sound harsh.
I think Emil had more about him than Lukaku, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
It's more about Emil's game than
Lukaku.
Giant. Yeah.
I just think that Kane deserves everything he gets this year.
Yeah. And it looks like he probably will win.
Well,
it,
I
so
hope he does.
Solves the problem.
That's the point I'm making. Yeah, and I hope Sanchez. You know, I'd rather see somebody like a Harry Kane who does deserve it, and he's been very consistent over a number of years. That's all.
Now, prior to the show, we asked all 3 of you to pick out your picks of the season, things that you think should be highlighted. There's one common denominator for all 3 of you, someone who's just swept the awards. Conte. We've talked about him already. So let's talk about the man who has won back-to-back titles with different clubs in 2 seasons, N'Golo Conte. Why has he been the player, the pick of the season for all 3 of you?
Go on, Steve.
Well, because he's not technically gifted like Hazard is and Costa's. He's not scoring you all the goals. He scored 1 goal, I think, Premier League goal. But he does a shift, and as a player in a team, you love him because he does all the things that other people can't really do. He gets about the pitch. He doesn't have to get his shorts dirty because he very rarely goes off his feet. He stays on his feet. He wins little tap-ins. He does everything that you'd want from a team player. Here, he's there. He does all the nasty things. He's got his shorts dirty.
Yeah, he covers a huge amount of ground.
Yes,
that is for sure. You know, and I think he is technically a lot better than people give him credit for. I really do.
I think he's improved as a player since he's gone to Chelsea as well. He's definitely, his game has definitely changed, and he's braver on the ball, where before he's knocking longer balls at Chelsea. I don't know whether that's encouragement or the fact of he's more confident than when he was at Leicester. Leicester mostly just maybe gave him a job, and he'd done his job. I think it seems like he's expressed himself more now at Chelsea than what he ever did at Leicester.
But, gentlemen, if you were to compare any Premier League player right now, would you say Idrissa Gueye is the closest to Conte in terms of what they're meant to do on the pitch?
Yeah, because his stats would suggest that. So when he signed for Everton, that's because Walsh was in charge at Leicester. Yeah. He went to Everton. He's the stats man, and he goes away and looks and analyses players who tackle, who make so many runs.
They signed him from Aston Villa, didn't they?
Yes, they did, but he had exactly the same
very similar
statistics. Winning the ball back, runs in the game, everything almost identical to what.
It's amazing that no one ever saw that.
Exactly.
Because obviously Villa were very, very poor when they went down, but no one ever...
Is that the difference? He was at Villa and one was at Leicester, and hence the move?
Yeah, you just didn't notice it, and it's amazing how you look at these things now, and I think he's actually... Garner, isn't it? He's actually made more tackles than Conte this season as well, I saw. So... No, so
it's a good question, yes, Steve.
It was a great question. It's just what side you're in makes the player you are.
All right, gentlemen, we've got to go for another break. We've still got so much more to discuss. We've talked about Manchester United, for example. Don't worry, we've got all of that covered. But as we go to our commercial break, we're going to leave you with our Wonder Man on the Street. It's all about what we were just talking about here in the studio, which was who has been the player of the season, according to all of the fans out there over the course of the last 9 months.
The best player of the season is Paul Pogba. The reason being is because Paul Pogba brings us the contributions of what Roy Keane and Paul Scholes used to do.
And Herrera, because he is the engine of the team. And he is, for me, he is consistent throughout the season.
I think Alexis Sanchez played really well this season, but unfortunately, he could probably like contribute better in like a different team maybe.
N'Golo Kante, for sure. The reason is because he's been bossing the midfield all the way. His interceptions, his tackles, even though he's small.
Beaten, 'cause you make me feel.
This broadcast of the Premier League is brought to you by MyEG, your e-government service provider. Wanda Coffee. Try the new Wanda Extra Presso. And Brickfield's Asia College, the fastest and smartest way.
Here we are at Stadium Santiago Bernabeu. In 2 hours' time, this whole stadium will be filled like crazy fans like us.
On this episode of Wishlist, Andrew and Kian live their dream and experience an unforgettable journey inside Real Madrid at Santiago Bernabeu. This is where anything is possible. Wishlist on Astro SuperSport and Astro Go. The La Liga Santander, live on Bein Sports, channel 837. Rising among 64 teams, 2 stand tall.
Heartbreak for Borussia Mönchengladbach. It's the black and yellows that are heading to the capital.
Now, no prize is too steep for victory.
Apart from Talib Tawata, picks it perfectly. Aubameyang.
Eintracht Frankfurt versus Borussia Dortmund, the DFB Pokal Final on Astro SuperSport 3 and Astro Go.
Cause you make me feel.
A legend of Manchester United, a legend of the Premier League, a legend of the footballing game. So Alex Ferguson in attendance today, handing out some prizes to some fans we can see there on the screen. But of course, they've got a big match coming up in just a few days. A lot of speculation about who Jose was going to field for the fixture. Wayne Rooney does start. This is, I think, his 5th consecutive match. So, Parks, talk us through the lineup. This could be Rooney's last game. Could be.
I think it could be. Hopefully that somehow to do something. They can't allow Wayne, given that his form hasn't been great, but they still cannot allow him just to disappear from the club. Whatever you say, he's been a legend. He's a legend.
He's a top scorer.
He's been a great player. Manchester United great without a shadow of a doubt. At least one thing, Mourinho has actually stuck by something when he said it as well, is that he's playing young players. But the problem that worries me with so many young players in one team, young players should come in and have good seasoned players around them. And I look at it, there's just too many players, in my opinion, too many going in now. And even he has come out, they asked him the question, are they ready? And he said no, which isn't really good. I don't think those young players really need to hear that. They should be in there because their manager believes in them and giving them the opportunity.
Yeah, I looked at that 11 there and Mitchell at left back, don't know anything about him particularly. Harrop playing up top on his own again.
Have you had a manager have a go at you before a match in the press saying he's not good enough or he's not ready to play when you're about to start the game, knowing that you're going to start the game?
Well, I know is the answer, and I don't think it is the way to do it either. Surely it's all about building your players up, lifting your players, giving them confidence and belief, because you need them to perform.
The problem we might have is you've got the youngsters, 6 or 7 playing, and then Pogba's playing as well, obviously. Now we're going to go onto policy.
And this is a team which Jose wished they would go easy on United.
Yeah, that wasn't good coming out of his mouth as well to say something like that as well. That was a little bit, in my opinion, why he's saying that about against your team? He shouldn't have been doing that. He should be putting the team out and believing they should win. But he's taken that all away weeks ago. There's only been, I mean, there's one change from their last game. It's a Cabaye is out, and is it Cabaye? Cabaye's out, and I think MacArthur's come into one
That's
change.
correct,
Or two.
yeah.
Van Alden's in as well. But I mean, at the end of the day, Palace are on a look. They're safe. And Big Sam will go there and desperate to win. Big Sam would love to. He hasn't beaten Mourinho, but he would love to go to Old Trafford as well and beat Mourinho.
Because in years to come, it won't be that Manchester United were a weakened side. It will be that we won at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I agree, because United have to win every game. What I was trying to finish off what I was trying to say there, with the experienced players and the players in United side, could be under pressure. You talk about injuries. Because they'll be doing extra to look after the youngsters.
Yeah.
So it's okay saying we're going to play the youngsters, but they don't want to be beaten. And Pogba will be doing a little bit extra to cover for the young lad in midfield. Bailly will do a little bit extra to cover for the shape at the right back, Mensah, I think. And so everybody will do little bits extra. And will that take its toll? Will he get a couple of injuries? If they do, then he's himself and his worst own enemy. I think anyway, it's a big gamble. Big gamble.
The United fans are with you on this one. Steve, a few questions. First, Krishna asks, on what channel is the United game? It's on Astro on the go. You can download it now, but you do need an active Astro account. The next question, there's a few actually, based on what you said. First comes from Ibrahim, who says, Mourinho saying that the Europa League was too many games, God help us. What about Champions League once they get Champions League, if they get Champions League? And the next question, of course, comes from Eddie, who says the Portuguese dumped Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin and Carrick initially. Too many games, fatigue. The problem is Mourinho, Manchester United. Any progress under Jose? What is the outcome?
Well, I'm continuing getting told I'm tired by the managers. Keep giving me an excuse that I'm tired of. We're going to play 64 games. I'm going to say, okay, I'm tired. He's going to make me feel tired talking about it. I'm tired listening to him.
Yeah, okay. Everyone's tired listening to him.
Well, and in actual fact, he did thin his squad out at Manchester United, didn't he? He did think, like Schweinsteiger gone, Schneiderlin gone. You do wonder that if he'd just kept hold of them, okay, maybe he wasn't anticipating the injuries that he's had to deal with.
Well, I think you should be anticipating, because it's football. Anything can happen. Players can go out and be ill for 2 weeks. But he actually done that on purpose, because he said that's too many players. He said, I work with this number of players. So that's the reason why I've done it, Gary. He's made a rod for his own back.
All right, well, let's hear from the man we're all talking about, Jose Mourinho.
Jose, the team you've picked, what's your message to your players ahead of this one today?
To the young boys was to enjoy it, not to feel the pressure, not to feel the responsibility, not to feel that this is an important game for them. Just play, enjoy, and try to be what they are when they are playing against kids of their age. To my guys, the message is support the kids, and try to avoid that the concentration is on the final on Wednesday, because we still have a match to play, and we try to have a team where all the guys they can be the stability that the kids don't have, and of course the changes I'm going to make during the match are not for the young kids. The changes are going to be for the players that I need them to play Wednesday again. So I'm expecting Paul, Lingard, Jones, Rooney. Out of these 4, 3 of them are going to come out probably at half-time.
Paul, I got a question for you. In your time at United, just watching United, have you ever seen a manager so negative when it comes to maybe press conferences, dealing with players, or dealing with a situation in general?
But you've asked me a question, you know the answer.
What is it?
No, it hasn't been. Of course it hasn't.
So is he worthy to be a United manager, just based on his demeanour?
Well, I think you look at that, but let's put it this way. If he wins the Europa League, then every people just discard that and say United have got a trophy in Europe, and that works out. They've got the League Cup. I'm not even going to talk about the Community Shield. It's the League Cup and the European trophy. That's what matters. But if he doesn't, there's going to be questions asked about him, and I'm sure they'll be asked within the club as well, because Manchester United are a global entity in marketing and the whole thing. So the whole demeanour doesn't really help it.
The big thing is, if he ends up with Manchester United in the Champions League next season, it is truly job done this year, isn't it? Regardless of how good, bad or indifferent anyone wants to say, it's job done because United are back in the Champions League.
He's got 2 and 3 scripts ready every game. he's covering all bases. He's on a no-lose situation. He's saying protecting the team. If the youngsters don't perform well, they're not ready for it, and we had to put them in. He's got statements for everything. He's got,
all right. We've talked for an hour now. We're ready for the matches. We're ready for the final 10 games of the Premier League season. You can see the 3 matches which we'll be keeping a very close eye on because of the Champions League spots. Who's going to get it? 3 are competing, only 2 will actually achieve it. There's a whole host of matches. Chelsea, Sunderland will be showing the trophy presentation later on, and we'll keep you updated on all the remaining fixtures as well. Each goal as they go in. We'll be back in a short while.
Beaten, 'cause you make me feel.
This broadcast of the Premier League is brought to you by Wanda Coffee. Try the new Wanda Extra Presso. Brickfields Asia College, the fastest and smartest way. And MyEG, your e-government service provider.
In a world where fur, paws, and wings are in, anyone can be a hero. And anything is possible.
Joe! You sure are one of a kind. Whoa, what is that?
It's time to get wild in Animal Kingdom every Saturday on Fox Family Movies.
Did you know there's much more you can do with your Astro PVR than just record programs? It lets you pick and watch on-demand entertainment instantly. Click Home, then go to Settings, choose Network, then Wi-Fi. Pick your Wi-Fi network and key in your password. Now you're connected, and downloading your favorite program is even easier. Go to Home and choose On Demand. Select the menu and pick the program you like. Press OK and watch instantly.
This broadcast of the Premier League is brought to you by Brickfields Asia College, the fastest and smartest way. MyEG, your e-government service provider. And Wanda Coffee.